Hello. We are going through how the Bible was made and how you should read it, written by Aaron Stroman. Hey, that's me. Welcome to this new video. This is the last chapter of the book that I'm going to discuss in the video series, and this chapter is titled Biblical Theology, How to Connect It All. The idea of biblical theology. So there's different types of theology: systematic theology, pastoral theology, biblical theology being one of them. Biblical theology takes a look at the entire big picture of the Bible and how it all connects together. The way the authors wrote, they hyperlinked and referenced different parts of the Bible, and it all fits together beautifully. We have to figure out how to do that as readers of the Scripture, to know, one, the author's intended meaning, to understand the context in which things are written. And again, this will change how you read and understand the Scripture. The most practical way I think you can do this is by getting a study Bible. The Bible I have in front of me right now is not a study Bible. It's just the Bible, the Scripture. There are some cross-references and some little notes down here, but a study Bible will have a whole lot more of those tools for you. Bible notes are really good. They're just a theologian, a Bible expert who has studied the Bible and puts little notes in there that help you understand it. So a study Bible will always have Bible notes. We also will have cross-references. Cross-references are huge because sometimes you read something and you think, man, that sounds kind of funny. That doesn't really fit in there. But then if there's cross-referencing notes, you see sometimes people are quoting other people, and that helps, like, oh, yeah, he was quoting this other guy who said this and 300 years prior, and then it makes sense. Like just like if you've ever quoted a movie to someone who didn't know that movie and they're confused, they're like, what? Why do you say that? No, you have a voice of, it's like a perfect blend of Jesus and Fergie. And if you haven't seen Step Brothers, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you have, like, oh, that's a cross-reference. I get it. Oh, that's funny. Inside joke. And there's a lot of like insider language in the Scripture, and cross-referencing helps. There's also a tool that I use called the instance of first mention. Sometimes you'll read a word or you'll see a phrase, and it's helpful to go back and see where was that first mentioned at. And so that's a good way to kind of study the Bible, to get into it and know how it's all connected. There's also an ancient Jewish practice that's in the Scripture. We see it as a cross between cross-referencing and the instance of first mention, and this is the practice of remez. One of the guys I work for, Randy Frazee, he actually taught me this. Remez is where I would say part of a first line, and then my listener would say, like, finish the line. And so when Randy was teaching this to me, he used the word, or the phrase, Mary had a little lamb. And I said, oh, whose fleece was white as snow. He was like, yeah, we just remezed. So when you say like part of a line and you let someone else finish it, you're remezing. I was doing this the other day with my friend Jerome. We were running laps and warming up, and I was teasing him. I pushed him a little bit, and he goes, Aaron, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. And I said, are you trying not to lose your head? And Jerome said, ha, 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 ha. Right? Jerome was practicing in remez. He said a line which led me to the next line, which actually led him to the third line, and we were referencing a nice, beautiful old song. Saying all that, like, why does this matter when we're reading the Scripture? Why does it matter using these tools, connecting everything? And here's why. This is one, oh my gosh, that in Matthew chapter 27, I remember I would read this for so many years, even as a little kid. Like, Jesus is up on the cross, he's about to die, and he cries out. He says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And I've even had pastors teach me that, oh, Jesus was forsaken by God in that moment. And that totally messed with my understanding of who God was, right? But remember I was talking about, if you've been tracking along these videos, Like, that seems contrary to the nature of God. So why is it in the Bible? Did God really forsake Jesus? Well, isn't God and Jesus the same? Like the whole Trinity thing, like Jesus is the Son of God, but yeah, he's still fully God, fully human. Like, it just totally messed with my understanding. Well, then, using a cross-reference, see that Psalm chapter 22 is cross-referenced. And when you read that, you see that this line, my God, why have you forsaken me, is in there. And as you start to read this, you see that it's actually David talking about it. And David says this line, but then it goes on, and if you go back and read Psalm 22, it's actually a description of what's happening to Jesus, right? It says, dogs surround me, a pack of villains encircles me, they pierce my hands and feet. Any of this sound familiar? Jesus nailed to a cross, pierced hands and feet. All my bones are on display. Jesus was naked. People stare and gloat at me. There are people around the cross looking at Jesus. They divide my clothes and cast lots for my garment. And it's like, oh, David wrote about this centuries before this was happening to Jesus Christ. Whoa. And now Jesus is doing this remez. He's quoting this because what the next line is, my God, why have you forsaken me? And then Psalm 22 ends with a story of rescue and resurrection. And of course, what's the story of Jesus? He's resurrected from the dead. So Jesus is giving his little audience there around the cross some insight of what's going to happen. In Scripture, I read that and go, oh, no. God didn't forsake Jesus. Jesus was quoting an old psalm, and he's actually hinting like, hey, I'm going to be resurrected. Hang in there. That puts me at peace. That makes me understand, oh, God, yeah. Okay, so God is faithful. His character doesn't change. I can trust there. But it takes some of that digging in Scripture. And here's the deal. If you're reading the Bible and you start scratching your head going, that doesn't seem right. I don't know about that. What's going on here? You need to keep digging, and you're going to find more answers that build your faith in God and go, no, okay, that makes sense. I really can trust the author of this, God of the universe. And this book will change your life. Not because it's a great story, but because it's God's story and his plan for redemption that's applicable to you and me. So that's my last video on my mini book. I hope this has been helpful for you. Of course, you can buy this on Amazon, or if you just want to talk about it, have questions about it, feel free to comment below. I'll contact you personally. We can chat on the phone or do a video chat, and I'd love to encourage you, maybe help you find some of the answers you're seeking for, and maybe you can encourage me the same way. So I pray that this has been a blessing for you all. Thank you so much for your support. God bless.